Namaste, viewers, and welcome to this episode of The Amazing Vedas with Dr. Parikshit Singh. Thank you, Dr. Singh, for joining us. Viewers, we've got some feedback, a little bit of pushback. We already tried to tell you how we learned from Sri Aurobindo and the lineage, because in India, lineage is so important. Even in the US, lineages are so important because lineages are some ways of credentializing, right? Of legitimating what we do. So, fine, we accept that challenge of lineage, but we also want to say that we do not believe in end stopped interpretations. So, last time we mentioned that even in Siddhanta, even after something has been established through a logical process laid down in, for example, the Nyaya Shastra, you can still open it up, you can still question. So, it is in that spirit that we consider the Vedas a living tradition, and we ourselves are the living Veda, right? It's not that it's a bunch of books already written, and then we spend all our time arguing, fighting, debating, sometimes decapitating, as has happened in other cases, over interpretations. No, that is not our path. But just to give you a flavor of what we experience, I request you, Dr. Singh, to read out a tweet that you got. Of course, it was in connection with a different master text, not the Vedas, but even so, it is symptomatic of an approach to, how you interpret these texts. Go ahead, Dr. Singh.
So, so it was about this. There was the tweet. Now, let's briefly read it, and then we can talk about the concern that came up. So, this was the tweet. A recent controversy has been raised about the Bhagavad Gita 9.32. That is Adhyaya 9, Shloka 32. And the shloka goes like this: Mam hi partha vyapashitrya yepi syuf papayonayah स्त्रियो वैश्यास्तथा शूद्राः तेऽपि यान्ति param gatim. In translation, those who take refuge in me, O Partha, though outcasts, born from a womb of sin, women, vaishyas, shudras, they also attain to the highest goal. So, politically, there was an issue. So my response was, I felt that Sri Krishna has opened the door to everyone. No one is excluded from the highest station. All one has to do is surrender to the divine completely. Here the divine is Sri Krishna, or we are very open, whichever form you take of divine, the divine Vishnu or Shiva or Shakti or Christ. We are very liberal in that sense. But the beauty of Sanatan Dharma is that one doesn't have to accept everything a scripture says. For the real scripture is in one's own heart. In its context, the Gita is right. But the reader has the total freedom to read the Gita that he or she wants to. Now, that was the tweet. And of course, the reaction came that you are absolutely wrong. Absolutely. I mean, there's not even one iota of being right, no chance of being right. You're absolutely wrong. One needs to read the authentic interpretations that have reached their conclusions once and for all of the scripture. One does not have the freedom to change one's interpretation or reject an interpretation.
So, why don't you read that subsequent tweet that the person wrote, that fix it once and for all? If you can find it, that would be so interesting, because,
you responded.
Yeah, I also did, because, see, the point is, I don't blame the person, because they said end all controversies by fixing the meaning once and for all. So, see if you
Yes.
can find that. But so we were exactly discussing that, and if we go back to the so-called medieval ages, even in a society which is today so liberal like Switzerland, they were killing each other literally. Like Calvin had Zwingli burnt to death on a stake for disagreeing, for coming up with a different interpretation of the Bible, you see. So these were very serious things.
Yes.
And in other traditions, you can be jailed or stoned or whatever for apostasy, for blasphemy. There are blasphemy laws. So, anyhow, let's read
So I
this.
found it. So, by the way, we don't have blasphemy in our tradition. Um, we, as we discussed, even the concept of sin is very different. Sin is duality. Sin is to be split in oneself and not realize the truth of the universe. That is, the understanding of sin. So the answer is absolutely wrong. It is not at all correct to say Sanatan Dharma means interpreting scriptures as one likes. If left to ego's interpretation, all scriptures will be mistranslated. We need to fixate to the most authentic interpretation available at our times. Fixate. That's not a good term. But then I responded to it. I mean, it's not based on ego. Interpretation is not based on one's likes. Interpretation is a very serious, serious science. And as you know, even in the West, in India, of course, it was very important. You have to change yourself. You have to work on yourself. You have to open your own viveka, your own understanding, grow in that understanding. You have to assimilate it, ideally under a teacher, a guru who can guide you. And then you have to open to some other voice that is able to validate the truth, because we believe in the proof of identity or direct perception,
Experience, direct experience,
sakshatkar, right? The
sakshatkara. In
pramana.
fact, I remember you told him that it also needs tapasya. Am I right?
Tremendous. So besides, if we reject the ability to assimilate and rediscover our scriptures, that means we reject the last at least 2000 years of lineage of Sanatan Dharma, which means we reject Sri Rama, who, by the way, pushed back on Parshurama. Okay, Parshurama was fixating things, fixating. Excuse my language.
Fix and fixate are different. And
Yes,
and
but that,
fixate, exactly. Our friend probably didn't know that, but and
yes,
fixate in
yes,
the psychological terminologies, as you said, is not a good word. When you fixate on something, that means it's like an obsessive compulsive.
yes. And that is what is happening. We are getting fixated. So Sri Rama rejected the past. I mean, he broke the past, the standards put. Every avatar has taken us to a new established order.
What about
Even,
Sri Krishna? He reinterprets the Veda. You yourself have written about it.
of course, and Sri Krishna takes love to a new height. I mean, who is the biggest disruptor of social relationships than Sri Krishna? Here, the beautiful genius is hanging around with women, stealing their clothes. I mean, come on. But we worship him, describing his intense love of the with the gopis, with Radhaji, and I take it as spiritual reality. The one who breaks the rules in the Mahabharata. If you
No,
look at
also
him,
on the Vedas and the Gita, he shows you how to reinterpret the Veda.
that's right. He interprets the, and 24.24 is a beautiful interpretation of the Veda. Now you can say no, you have to fixate to an authentic interpretation. What are you going to do? And then comes the Buddha, then comes Adi Shankara himself, then comes Sri Ramanuja, Madhvacharya, Kabira, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahans, Swami Vivekananda, another one who disrupted. All the Pandits went crazy with him. They rejected him. Swami Dayananda, Sri Aurobindo himself. I mean, Maharshi Ramana. I mean, so every great teacher, that is the beauty of Sanatan Dharma. You manifest the Sanatan Dharma in a new language. The language is not important, it is the experience, re experience. It's like saying, okay, the ocean here is only what it looks like at the Gulf of Mexico. They are all connected, by the way, the seven seas, right? Seven great oceans. So I say, no, this is it. The ocean is only what I see at the Gulf of Mexico. My little, now it's Gulf of America, thanks to our president. But really, that means you have limited spirituality to a narrow perspective that you have chosen to limit it to. And that is okay for several traditions, but not in Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan Dharma sees spirituality as a vast field that is discovered, rediscovered in a new light, in a new manner, and yet in the eternal continuity of that revelation, it is always there. Sanatan Dharma even accepts Christ. For heaven's sake, please appreciate my pun. For heaven's sake, Jesus is accepted. I mean, that's what drives people crazy. You go to a Sanatani and you say, okay, this was Jesus. Yeah, oh yeah, he's ours. Now look at the immense assimilation of spirituality wherever it is. So someone has a problem with one shloka. I'm sorry, I'm biased. Okay, don't
No
accept it.
problem. No
No
problem. Yeah.
problem. What is the more important thing? What is Sri Krishna telling you? And remember, this is something that was written or seen or perceived or revealed at least 2,500 years ago. It has to contextualize itself in that setting. Otherwise, it wouldn't be really a good, grounded scripture. It contextualizes itself in that mindset. Now you argue against that context. Okay, reject it. Take away that shloka. Then what else is left? Something is there of the essence of Sanatan Dharma. That is Sri Krishna. That is his vast vision. And even in this shloka, he's saying everyone can reach param gatim, right?
The
He's not
supreme.
saying,
Yeah.
okay, you guys, you're excluded. No, even if your field is narrow, you live in the home, domestic, you're unfortunately women are restricted, their field is restricted. Doesn't matter. Even if your field is restricted as a merchant, you're just in business, but you're doing it completely, you're giving it to the divine. Yes, you don't have to have the knowledge of the brahmana. Brahmana, by definition, is one who knows the word, the Veda. You don't have to have that knowledge. It is okay if your field is limited, if you surrender to the divine. How much more open can it get? The narrowest life, the most restricted life can be opened up to the ultimate. So to me,
Can
it
be
was
the
beautiful.
most elevated, even
Most,
those who,
yes,
that's the point. It's open to everyone.
yes,
And friends, that's, the only thing I wanted to say is that life itself keeps changing, language changes, consciousness itself is fluid.
yes,
So this whole obsession with fixing meaning is a non-starter. It can never happen because, you fix it at one point and then a few hundred years later, society has changed, context has changed, language has changed, and even your vocabulary of
yes,
fixing or fixating has changed. So I think it's a trap. We need not fall into that trap. And even if you and I agree that this is what something means, the third person will say, no, that's not what it means. Then you'll need a mufti or you'll need some authority on top. He will decide, and how does he know? And then he will punish a fourth person. My goodness, let's not go there. And it's bad enough that there is so much, as it were, interpretation and misinterpretation in the normal legal system. Let's not even get legalized in the spiritual realm. Let it be open. And I think certainly our approach to the amazing Vedas is that everyone is welcome, provided you're sincere, you have an aspiration, a quest, and have that attitude to learn and grow. So
I,
thank you, Dr. Singh.
I just wanted to say that even
Please,
if you look
please.
at Isha Upanishad, if you look at the interpretation made by Adi Shankaracharya, compare it to the interpretation made by Swami Vivekananda, opposites. Compare it to the interpretation made by Sri Aurobindo, very different. although I must say Sri Aurobindo and Swami Vivekananda are quite very uh,
Similar,
spiritually
similar,
aligned.
similar.
Yes. Swami Sarvapriya Anand in his commentary on, he says Isha Upanishad used to drive him crazy because the commentaries are so varied. You don't know who is right. So it's not that there is one authentic commentary, and to interpret even the commentary is a use of words. So our approach has been to go back to the original source, relive it, discover it, because the true scripture is in the heart, in our own consciousness that unfolds, and the scripture is in that unfolding of that truth. Now, that is how Sanatan Dharma is, and that is how we have accepted it for the last few thousand years.
And that is what we want to continue. So, viewers, the amazing Vedas are the lived Vedas. With those words, thank you, Dr. Singh. Thank you for your precious time. And viewers, please like, share, and subscribe this, to our channel, and share this video as well. And please send us your comments and feedback. Thank you. Namaste. See you later.